Hello everyone, Rain here and welcome back to another video. Sorry, just had to take over for a moment. Hello, as you know, normally Rain would do these detailed news update videos and, well, frankly, let's be honest. By the time he does one for Beauties and the Stranded, Fire Hearts Under One Roof Season 10 will be out and you can take it from me, I just watched the Season 10 trailer, all 57 love interests included. Right, anyway, here it comes. Get ready for a different type of video. With the upcoming releases of Fire Hearts Under One Roof Season 2 and Beauties and the Stranded, I thought it would be good to do a review for Don't Fool Me Beauties and what this game could mean for upcoming Storytaco games and why it's a good thing that it's not like a Fire Hearts Under One Roof spin-off, which I know some people have thought it was. I'd like to thank Storytaco so much for providing a review code, so let's get straight into it. Off the bat, you will have noticed that Don't Fool Me Beauties only has 4 love interests, which is less than the usual 5 to 6 love interests such as in Fire Hearts Under One Roof Season 1 and Love Is All Around. So at the start, I was a bit concerned about this game's length, but after playing it, I did not feel the smaller amount of love interest resulted in a shorter game, as Storytaco went for more depth with the love interest stories. The game allows you to get to know the love interest more, like Da-Yeon taking on the extra streamer role to earn more money to look after her much younger brother. Despite Da-Yeon appearing to be very confident in her hotel job, she's actually very shy and quite self-aware of how she appears in front of others. For Karun, even though Storytaco could have went with the anime-style tsundere story where the tsundere senior dislikes the male protagonist for petty and sometimes admittedly funny reasons, like Naru towards Keitaro in Love Hina, the player learns Karun is tough on Hanbin because there is a lot of pressure on her to make the hotel business work. And on the surface, Bina appears to be a very successful model and influencer, but she actually wants to have more control over her career, and the creative choices made by Hanbin contribute to that freedom. Even though she may appear to be a diva or princess, Bina doesn't treat Hanbin like a servant and actually is happy to see Hanbin be humble enough to admit he needs help, rather than forcing him to adopt a hyper-masculine image of a tough guy with no weaknesses. With the exception of Jiwoo, where it's strongly hinted that she likes Hanbin, the other women are not immediately romantically interested in Hanbin, which I know this sounds like a surprise to players who are used to the love interest falling head over heels with a player character, and obviously happens to everyone on the planet. It does make the reasons why the love interests fall in love with Hanbin more believable, like Karun warming up to Hanbin after seeing his sincerity or thoughtfulness to her, or the relationship between Bina and Hanbin moving beyond an idol fan relationship. There is definitely a lot more humor, noticeably more adult or raunchy humor along the lines of the Super Seducer series.
FBI are after me, they're trying to steal my penis, but if I can hide it inside you for a little while, then they might not get it. What do you mean? Babe, I'm serious, can I just hide it? Just stick it up there, no?
Okay, maybe not that much. But anyway, regardless of how you feel about it, I felt it was a good way to give Don't Fool Me Beauties its own unique flavor, especially since leading up to the release of the game, there were still people wondering whether this game is a sequel or a spin-off to Fire Hearts Under One Roof. The humor adds to the replayability factor, where the many bad endings that are sometimes easier to get than the right decisions were clearly written with humorous or ridiculous aims. I mentioned about the bad endings, which there are many that include hilarious fail endings, but there are also the good and best endings, the latter which requires careful selection of choices to get. Expanding further on the hidden scenes approach from Fire Hearts Under One Roof Season 1, there are quite a lot of hidden paths or scenes that allow you to explore Hanbin's relationship with the various women, such as Bina's relationship with her former manager. It is rewarding for players rather than for just pure 100% achievements or for lulz for bad endings. building upon something Storytaco experimented with Five Hearts Under One Roof Season 1, where Storytaco will use more traditional third-person camera angles to show Yuman interacting with the women in both hidden scenes and the best endings. Don't Fool Me Beauties incorporates third-person camera angles for more scenes, showing Hanbin and his interaction with the various characters, which I really love. It's nice to get a variety of camera angles and ways to show scenes like kissing or moving to different areas that can be limited by restricting oneself to first-person camera angles, as we've seen with some instances like in the first Love Is All Around game. Plus, it's nice to get a sense of how Hanbin looks like, rather than always hearing the male protagonist say, "I'm shy, shy," like who he does in Love Is All Around. Unfortunately, the subtitles sometimes do go by too quickly before I can finish reading the sentence. I mean, I can read fast if needed, but Storytaco must have thought highly of everyone that everybody can.
Can you actually read that fast?
Our conscious minds can process 16 bits of information per second. Our unconscious, however, can process 11 million. Yes, I can actually read this fast.
I found this happen a couple of times throughout my various playthroughs and at different chapters. I'm hoping this can be addressed in a future patch or for future Storytaco games. Some Korean cultural terms like oni is not explained in the subtitles, dialogue or choices. I think it would be helpful if there was a brief explainer either during conversations or during the choices, so that players can fully appreciate the nuances of the story and learn more about South Korean culture, which I think these games can offer a fun way for players to do so. Overall, Don't Fool Me Beauties is a good romance FMV game that makes up for its smaller cast of love interests with greater depth and exploration of its story. Its tone makes it different from Five Hearts Under One Roof, and perhaps some of you would disagree with me on this, but in my opinion, it's good for Storytaco to explore different tones or styles for their various games, as I think sticking to the same style, setting, tone or writing to Storytaco's flagship series would be detrimental in the long term, as much as I love Five Hearts Under One Roof. So Don't Fool Me Beauty doesn't aim to be a Five Hearts Under One Roof spin-off, and that, in my opinion, is a good thing, as it makes the game stand out on its own, worth playing, and I do hope that's something Storytaco will continue to explore for future releases. At this point in time, I want to talk about other Storytaco releases like Beauties and The Stranded and Hooked on Lookbooks. Firstly, for Beauties and The Stranded, in a video that has since been taken down from the Steam store, it is revealed that in the game's setting, bee-skin or half-human, half-animal hybrids were developed to survive a post-apocalyptic world, but eventually have been hunted for sport or food if I remember correctly. You play as Min-sok, a former bee-skin hunter who finds himself in a bunker filled with the various love interests, although it's strongly implied in the deleted video that he was kidnapped while on a mission. Firstly, for the love interest, we have Chef So-Seo, played by the singer with the same name, which continues a tradition from the Five Hearts Under One Roof series, where the love interests share the same name. She cooks bizarre dishes like shrimp chip soup, which sounds cool but could go completely wrong, and her scenes will involve cooking, such as this photo where the protagonist Min-sok is trying one of her dishes. Clearly the following could
taste that! Like baby food, it's mush! And the lobster's raw! Raw! Ladies, please!
Yes, anyway, in an unknown context, we see her offering some sort of cream or skincare lotion. Maybe it's because of an outdoor day with the protagonist, or maybe for the apocalypse and suspicion of your lady friends doesn't mean you need to get some, but we have just the thing for you, the Bunker Buster. Perfect for those dates when you suspect something's up but you don't want to let down your charms. Protect your skin and your mind from having any suspicions detected, just by making sure that no one knows how absolute nonsense this ad is. On second thoughts, that sounds like a terrible idea. She has a habit of wearing a cat ear headband, and it's clearly meant to be a false flag on who the actual bee-skin is, but I think—
look at all this! Look! 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 Oh yes! Oh yes! Oh yes! Oh no!
Secondly, there is Nana, portrayed by model Banana, and I must say, what a name that is. Who cares about more ordinary fruit-themed names like apple or clementine. She's the bold bunker scout who can handle snakes with her bare hand, but her skin is cold when Min-seok touches her when she steps out of the shower. Wait a minute, in what circumstances would that normally happen? Oh, right, there was that in Game of Fate 1. What's interesting is that in some clips or photos, she acts more cute than what is suggested in her bio, so I'm wondering whether her tough exterior is to hide her true personality of being actually more happy and cute than expected, and we see hints of this when she seems to be enjoying doing various poses with Min-seok helping to take photos. In a photo on Da-Yeon, we see her in a wedding-like dress with flowers, so it could be a photo shoot or perhaps a happy ending shot. Thirdly, we have Joy, played by model Hyun-jae. She's the greenhouse keeper and is obsessed with carrots to the point she would say, "Show me your carrot. Wow, it's huge. Give it to me," which is a metaphor for manhood that I don't think I need to elaborate further on. However, the deep claw marks in the greenhouse make it seem like she's not as harmless as she appears, and she's definitely not a cat.
No, I'm not a cat.
There are some photos showing her and the protagonist spending time harvesting produce, indicating that the outdoor scenes won't always be group ones. She usually lets her long hair down, but in this rooftop party scene seen in the opening intro, we see her with tied up hair. We know she's the one playing this game of hide and seek that we see in the teaser trailer based on this behind the scenes clip. Fourthly, there's Jjekkany, played by model and content creator of the same name. She's the bunker's communications officer, but seems to be eavesdropping on everything, and at some point Min-seok believes he saw her having a tail. This scene seems to be one where Min-seok walks in on her, perhaps sabotaging the communications equipment to keep him trapped in the bunker perhaps? We also do see some sort of drawings or notes pasted on the wall, so maybe it's something to do with her secret? In this photo of a scene in her bedroom, we can see her holding a teddy bear and what looks like a rabbit soft toy and another unclear soft toy on her bed, so it's possible collecting soft toys is a hobby or source of comfort for her. This photo of her cooking something on a stove near a tent doesn't seem to appear in any of the teasers, but we know it's not the abandoned theme park day due to the different outfits. Last but not least, we have Da-Yeon, played by model E-Dayeon. She's the manager of supplies in the bunker. Although she seems strict, she secretly snacks on jelly in the storeroom and has an unexplainable superhuman strength. True to her character description, most of the clips show her being more serious during individual scenes with the protagonist, although we do see her more cheerful in other scenes, suggesting her character arc will involve her opening up to the protagonist. Interestingly, we can see her wearing the animal headband and with her tail out in the open, so I'm guessing that means identifying the real bee skin among the love interests will require finding more clues or evidence. Briefly, onto some group scenes, we see this vault or safe room of some kind, and in the behind the scenes photo shoot that the various love interests are all wearing animal themed headbands, and we can see So-Seo with a fluffy tail. In the teaser trailer, we can see So-Seo, Jjekkany, and two other love interests in front of a steel door. Based on the text, it seems like this could be a scene where Min-seok suspects something or tries to escape. And in the intro, we see some sort of slumber party scene with Da-Yeon, Joy, and Nana in the background. It's noticeable that in the Steam store description, Storytaco said that the tensions between suspicion and romance in an apocalyptic setting was one of the key ideas that led to Beauties and the Stranded being created. Along with repeated statements like who will the player as protagonist Min-seok suspect or hunt, and will you trust them, capture them, or fall in love with them, suggests that Storytaco is going to mix up the usual building up affection system with questions of trust or suspicion, perhaps how building up romantic affection with particular love interests could lead to loss of opportunities to find clues on who is truly the beast's kin. The Steam store description also says search for clues about who might be a Beastkin, so that suggests a more investigative aspect for this game, which I know is not an entirely novel idea for the genre, but usually this sort of investigation is directed at an antagonist who is not any of the love interests like in Game of Fate 1. So because of the suspicion aspect and Storytaco stating that all the love interests have a secret that they're all hiding about, I wonder whether finding a clue that usually unlocks a hidden or locked choice could be a false flag in falsely accusing particular love interests, as usually getting some sort of special item will unlock better affection points or hidden roots. I'm curious to see whether Storytaco will go deep into this route, as this could make Beauties and the Stranded pretty unique in presenting players with such dilemmas and as a way to differentiate this game from Five Hearts Under One Roof, just like how Storytaco explored the idea of how the love interests don't immediately take a liking to Hanbin to make the romantic developments of Don't Fool Me Beauties different, but we'll have to wait and see to be sure. This sort of differentiating approach is expressed in Storytaco's Steam community post for the demo that says this project was created with an indie film director and a cast of talented actresses active in ads, web dramas and music. Together, they bring a fresh energy to the FMV genre. So on that subject, I'm wondering what would be the unique factor for the other remaining FMV game hooked on Lookbooks, which I'd like to go over some speculations that I've previously written for a community post, but I thought it would be good to go over in a video. We've only gotten one blurred out teaser photo, but based on the tentative December release window, the red Christmas themed dresses and the presents with snowman figures, the story for Hooked on Lookbooks will most likely be Christmas themed. I believe it will be set in the corporate office setting that Storytaco teased in their roadmap post on Instagram, as the term lookbooks refers to a collection of photographs showcasing the work of models, photographers or designers, which would suit the corporate office setting. My guess is that the protagonist could be working in the fashion or design industry, perhaps for a Christmas project, and maybe other than the Christmas holiday theme, Storytaco might incorporate some rivalries or office politics like something out of America's Next Top Model.
See, why'd you have to go it up like that?
We know there'll be 5 love interests, and interestingly, the cast group photo is blurred out compared to the initial photo for Beauties and the Stranded, so I have been wondering whether that's due to the possibility that seung-yi and eun-bi ghost actresses are part of the cast, as Storytaco indicated in a previous Q&A that they would love to work with them for another project, and that's why this photo is blurred out. Of course, it's possible that Storytaco just wants to build up hype, as they initially didn't reveal the cast for Don't Fool Me Beauties until 1 month after the initial announcement. So what do you guys think? How has Don't Fool Me Beauties been different or similar to Storytaco's flagship series? Do you think Storytaco's other games will continue to be made in a way to be different from each other?
Alfred, did you get all of that?
Indeed I did, sir. The data allowed me to geolocate our missing Beastkin's hunter's last known location.
And where he sent his last words, Beauties and the Stranded. Odd words, but it could be a coded distress call for bats. And it cannot be a coincidence it was broadcasted towards Gotham.
Sir, is it not possible that they don't mean anything other than something smutty? After all, there are no limits to the human mind for crudeness.
It's entirely possible. It may be a similar situation to when the Flash was given a false distress call and it led to another Earth where there was nothing but a love fest happening to draw him away from a crime spree in Central City.
Indeed, it's fortunate that Master Allen lives up to his moniker of being the fastest man alive to stop that series of unfortunate events.
Regardless, a man's life is at risk and I cannot stand back and do nothing. Keep monitoring things, Alfred, and as this is indeed another false distress call to distract members of the Justice League, then whoever is behind this will regret getting my attention.